नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेव्या भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानजानशालाकस्य चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयस्वामिनारायण नमः। नमः आचार्यपदाय निताय कृपाप्रदायिने गौरकथा धामदाय नगरग्राम तारिणे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नाम्ने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9, Text 22. Prastite tu vanam pitra datva gam dharma samshraya shatrim shad varsha sahasram rakshita vyahatendriya. After your father goes to the forest and awards you the rule of his kingdom, you will rule continuously the entire world for 36,000 years, and all your senses will continue to be as strong as they are now. You will never become old. Purport. In the Satya Yuga, people generally live for 100,000 years. Dhruv Maharaja's ruling the world for 36,000 years was quite possible in those days, because Dhruv Maharaja had a very strong desire to be the king. So Krishna is really fulfilling so that never again will he have that desire. So it all depends. We can remove all such desires, or but he was ready. He didn't want it. But Krishna anyway is giving, and not only that, when Krishna gives, he said that you will not become old also. All your senses will continue to be as strong as they are now. So that is the advantage of getting it from Krishna rather than ourselves trying to do something. And he is definitely work in a very, I mean, as a devotee, um, you'll never become old. Imagine no old age, no disease, and death also very much prolonged, because he would go to the I was saying, okay. Tvad bhratari uttamena shte mrigayayam tu tanmana anveshanti vanam mata Dhavagnim sa pravikshyati. The Lord continued, sometime in the future, your brother Uttama will go hunting in the forest, and while absorbed in hunting, he will be killed. Your stepmother Suruchi, being maddened upon the death of her son, will go to search him out in the forest, but she will be devoured by a forest fire. Purport. Dhruv Maharaja came to the forest to search out the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a revenging spirit against his stepmother. His stepmother had insulted Dhruva, who was not an ordinary person but a great Vaishnava. An offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is the greatest offense in this world. Because of having insulted Dhruv Maharaja, Suruchi would become mad upon the death of her son and would enter a forest fire, and thus her life would be ended. This was specifically mentioned by the Lord to Dhruva because he was determined for revenge against her. From this, we should take the lesson that we should never try to insult a Vaishnava. Not only should we not insult a Vaishnava, But we should not insult anyone unnecessarily. When Suruchi insulted Dhruva Maharaja, he was just a child. She, of course, did not know that Dhruva was a great recognized Vaishnava, and so her offense was committed unknowingly. When one serves a Vaishnava unknowingly, one still gets the good result. And if one unknowingly insults a Vaishnava, one suffers the bad result. A Vaishnava is especially favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pleasing him or displeasing him directly affects the pleasure and displeasure of the Supreme Lord. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, in his 8 stanzas of prayer to the spiritual master, has sung Yasya Prasadhat Bhagavad Prasada. By pleasing the spiritual master, who is a pure Vaishnava, one pleases the personality of Godhead. But if one displeases the spiritual master, one does not know where he is going. So imagine the Krishna even he didn't he didn't pray that please destroy my stepmother and stepbrother and all that, but in his heart, as a child, he had great feelings of revenge, and that also happens. That is why devotee. When we have become, we're not small child and we know what is what, then we should not uh, try, even if somebody has offended us, we should try to, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing, because of ignorance. Because, see the consequences. Dhrumaraja was very disturbed when it happened. He became crazy. He took revenge on on the yakshas because they were the ones who had killed his stepbrother. So that time he underwent great pain because of his this thing. And that, he had forgiven him. So that is why if we wish some harm for someone, then that's also dangerous for a Vaishnava, because then Krishna will harm that person. Better we just pray, oh Krishna, please give them sense and let them become devotees. That is far better, because at the spur of the moment, we may get angry that, somebody harmed us, or somebody is disrespectful or insulting. But it's better not to take it seriously and instead pray for that person's deliverance, because we are not going to get anything by somebody else's suffering. How will we benefit? We will benefit only whatever is directly beneficial for us. And that, anyway, by pleasing the Supreme Lord, we can have everything. Just like Dhruv Maharaj, he didn't bother about anyone. There was nobody else for him except Krishna. His guru, Narada Muni, blessed him. His mother, of course, guided him. And Narada Muni was his Diksha guru. And he was just thinking of the Lord. And then he got everything so easily. So why should we? He didn't, of course, I don't know. Prabhupada is saying that he wanted to take revenge. And that is why they were also getting destroyed. And so it's very dangerous. Should never try to insult a Vaishnava. The problem with devotees is we don't see each other as devotees. When we come close to one another, we familiarity breeds contempt, and we don't think. And especially it can happen within families also. We don't see family members. They may all be Vaishnavas, and we don't think them as Vaishnavas. We think by our relationship, or even with devotees, others, non-family members, devotees. Then we start thinking of them as you know, like, we forget that they're Vaishnavas, and then we commit aparadhas, not knowing that we think it is justified. So that is also very dangerous. Even a small, any Vaishnava, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said you should serve all Vaishnavas, whether they are very, very junior, ABC to GBC, everybody has to be served. That is the mood. And we can please Krishna like that. We can make rapid advancement simply by making sure that we see everyone as Vaishnava. Oh, they are dear to Krishna. I better not displease them. In this way, then we can keep ourselves in check. If we forget, we don't see them as Vaishnavas, but we see them more in their external bodily context. then we cannot check our anger. And sometimes we, due to misunderstanding also, so that's, and when one serves a Vaishnava, knowingly or unknowingly, even unknowingly, one still gets the good result. And if one unknowingly insults a Vaishnava, one suffers the bad result. So sometimes we may not know who's a Vaishnava, who's not a Vaishnava, because, okay, within ISKCON, we know that because of devotee dress, who are Vaishnavas, who are not Vaishnavas. But maybe a potential devotee like Dhruv Maharaj, he was not a Vaishnava when, as a small child. How will anyone know that he's a Vaishnava? And so the stepmother happily insulted him, but he turned out to be a greatest of Vaishnavas. So we don't know who is a Vaishnava, who is not a Vaishnava. Better be nice to everyone. And Krishna is also very happy if you're kind to all living entities. What to speak of human beings, even to animals, ants, insects. Prabhupada was so compassionate even to insects, even to cockroach. He took a cockroach and he told the cockroach, "Go, you enjoy the whole world." And he threw it out of the window. So he was seeing the soul everywhere. And so he was very kind even to the cockroach or even to the ugly looking slug which was going there. And Govinda Dasi said, "Oh, so ugly." And Prabhupada's eyes were filled with compassion. "Please go and chant to it." So he was saying everywhere only Atma and Paramatma because he was a pure devotee. But at least we should try our best and not to see everywhere. At least Vaishnavas, we should see them as connected with Krishna. I would dangerous. Better not to criticize or insult a Vaishnava. And by pleasing the spiritual master, who is a pure Vaishnava, one pleases the personality of Godhead. But if one displeases, of course, Guru, most important that we always try to please him, follow his instructions, glorify him. And Krishna is very satisfied, very happy. Even if we have, we should not try to judge or criticize the Guru or try to give him instructions. We may think, we know better. Why is Guru Maharaj doing like this? And then we have a lot of things to, advise him, even mentally. That is also offensive. We should think, I don't know anything. Guru Maharaj is spiritually, he is a spiritually perfect person, and I am mental. I'm still, trying to understand things with my mind. So, whatever it is, we surrender to Krishna. Maybe sometimes the Guru doesn't know about something, about our case, or whatever it may be, and we may feel justified, but still one has to be very careful. Like, this Harikesh Swami. Harikesh Swami, he was very, very advanced devotee, and he has done a lot for ISKCON, and p- he, he used to take uh, oh, um, so much risk in going to Russia at that time. It was a communist, this thing, and there was this iron curtain. Nobody could enter like that, but he used to go inside a bus and like that with books and all that. I really took a lot of risk, and he became a guru of so many people there, all that. But at some point, maybe because of Vaishnava Prad, I mean, such an exalted Vaishnava, he must have done some Vaishnava Prad by which he fell victim to lust and he fell down very badly. So, I mean, that's an example of how, even if you're very, very exalted, he also criticized Prabhupada because, he had, because when he wanted to get married earlier, and Prabhupada said, no, no, you remain brahmachari and just serve. So then, then later on, so he followed Prabhupada's instructions, but later on, when he was feeling very disturbed and he felt that he had to get married, so then he was criticizing Prabhupada. Why did he force like that and things like that? Then he really fell down and he became a grihastha. And now he is just like an ordinary devotee, probably just coming in the weekends to the temple, like that. That's what I heard last about him. So it's, I mean, we can see such examples how by serving Prabhupada he rose so high, and by criticizing him and also maybe offended Vaishnavas, he fell down very badly. He may still go back to Godhead. Prabhupada might be kind to him because if he's following four rigs and chanting, even as a grista, but after being a guru, he did so much service for the, I mean, for ISKCON. So in that sense, he's very much reduced now, but he still may go back to Godhead because if he's following the rules and being an ordinary devotee, that Prabhupada will be very kind to him. Ishtva yajna hridayam yajne pushkala dakshinai bhuktva chehashisa satya ante mam samsmarishyasi. The Lord continued, I am the heart of all sacrifices. You will be able to perform many great sacrifices and also give great charities. In this way, you will be able to enjoy the blessings of material happiness in this life. And at the time of your death, you will be able to remember me. So many blessings. The most important factor in this verse is the Lord's instructions regarding how to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead at the end of life. Ante Narayana Smriti. The result of whatever we do in executing spiritual activities is successful if we can remember Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This program of constant remembrance can be disturbed by many things, but Dhruv Maharaja's life would be so pure, as assured by the Lord himself, that Dhruva would never forget him. Thus, at the time of his death, he would remember the Supreme Lord, and before his death, he would enjoy this material world, not by sense gratification, but by performing great sacrifices. That is the key word. As stated in the Vedas, when one performs great sacrifices, he must give charity not only to the Brahmanas, but also to the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. It is assured here that Dhruv Maharaja would be able to perform such activities. In this age of Kali, however, the great sacrifice is the performance of Sankirtana Yajna. Our Krishna consciousness movement is designed to teach people and to learn ourselves the exact instruction of the personality of Godhead. In this way, we shall continuously perform the Sankirtana Yajna, continuously chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Then, at the end of our lives, we shall certainly be able to remember Krishna, and our program of life will be successful. In this age, distribution of prasada has replaced distribution of money. No one has sufficient money to distribute. But if we distribute Krishna prasada as far as possible, this is more valuable than the distribution of money. So that is how we enjoy material life. This is what Dhruv Maharaja enjoying means, not that, okay, now happily he had a big harem and then he just went around on picnics here and there, went hunting, and not that kind of enjoyment. Enjoyment in a spiritual way, okay, he was a king, he had all opulence and everything, but he said that um, and before his death, he would enjoy this material world not by sense gratification, but by performing great sacrifices, giving in charity. That's what Krishna says. Lord continued, I am the heart of all sacrifices. You will be able to perform many great sacrifices and also give great charities. In this way, you'll be able to enjoy the blessings of material happiness in this life, and at the time of your death, you will be able to remember me. So, what Prabhupada says is perfect because this is the sacrifice he's taught us. What Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he said that in this age, you're the Sankirtana. is the best sacrifice. And if we keep, and the charity is to give prasadam, Krishna prasadam. If we distribute Krishna prasada as far as possible, this is more valuable than the distribution of money. And that's why we have to be very generous in feeding prasadam to everyone. Best sacrifice. And they really, I mean, not only will we get benefit of doing it, but how many people will benefit? That is the most wonderful thing. And then Krishna will be very happy. Mm. Tato ghantasi madsthanam sarvaloka namaskritam uparishtad rishibhyastvam yato na vartate gata. The personality of God, it continued. My dear Dhruva, after your material life in this body, you will go to my planet, which is always offered obeisances by the residents of all other planetary systems. Mm. It is situated above the planets of the seven rishis. And having gone there, you will never have to come back again to this material world. In this verse, the word navartate is very significant. The Lord says, you will not come back to this material world, for you will reach Matsthanam, my abode. Therefore, Dhruvaloka, or the pole star, is the abode of Lord Vishnu within this material world. Upon it, there is an ocean of milk, and within that ocean, there is an island known as Shvetadvipa. It is clearly indicated that this planet is situated above the seven planetary systems of the rishis. And because this planet is Vishnu Loka, it is worshipped by all other planetary systems. It may be questioned here what will happen to the planet known as Dhruvaloka at the time of dissolution of this universe. The answer is simple. Dhruvaloka remains like other Vaikuntha Lokas beyond this universe. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura has commented in this connection that the very word Navartate indicates that this planet is eternal. So, how Krishna fulfilled Dhruvaraj's desire to have a kingdom better than Brahma, and by giving him his own planet, which is eternal, which never gets destroyed. You know, when the time is ticking, it's not real enjoyment. Brahmaji, he also knows, okay, now, now he's in the 50th year now, and then another 50 years, and then it'll all be finished. So, but here, nothing. I mean, it's eternal. He can just be happy over there. And all the other planetary systems are going circumambulating Dhruv Loka. So that is a real benediction he got from Krishna. I mean, when Krishna gives something on his own, Dhruv Maharaja just completely surrendered to Vishnu. Though he went there for material desire, he left it to the Lord, and see how Krishna is fulfilling in a most wondrous way that even his material a benediction, he will use it in the service of Krishna by giving sacrifices and charities. And then he'll go to this spiritual planet in the material world before going back to Godhead. Maitre Uvacha iti archita sa bhagavan atidishyatmana padam balasya pashyato dama swam agat garuda dvaja. The great sage Maitreya said, after being worshipped and honored by the boy Dhruva Maharaja, and after offering him his abode, Lord Vishnu on the back of Garuda returned to his abode as Dhruva Maharaja looked on. From this verse, it appears that Lord Vishnu afforded Dhruva Maharaja the same abode in which he resides. His abode is described in the Bhagavad Gita 15.6. Yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. So he's very fortunate. How many people will get the Lord's abode? Okay, take it. You rule over it. Sopi sankalpajam Vishnu Padasevopasadhitam Prapya sankalpa nirvanam Nati prito abhyagat puram. Despite having achieved the desired result of his determination by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Dhruva Maharaja was not very pleased. Thus he returned to his home. By worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service, as instructed by Narada Muni, Dhruva Maharaja achieved the desired result. His desire was to get very exalted position, excelling that of his father, grandfather, and great grandfather. And although it was somewhat a childish determination, because Dhruva Maharaja was nothing but a small child, Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is so kind and merciful that he fulfilled Dhruva's desire. Dhruva Maharaja wanted a residence more exalted than any ever occupied by anyone else in the family. Therefore, he was offered the planet in which the Lord personally resides, and his determination was completely satisfied. Still, when Dhruva Maharaja returned home, he was not very much pleased, for although in pure devotional service there is no demand from the Lord, because of his childish nature, he had demanded something. Thus, although the Lord also fulfilled his desire, he was not very pleased. Rather, he was ashamed that he had demanded something from the Lord, for he should have not done this. So that is the Vidambana. You desire something, Krishna will fulfill it. But after that, we'll feel, oh, imagine, I could have gone back to Godhead. Suppose somebody thinks, oh, I want to see what is the heavenly planets like. Or you don't even have to think like that. When the Vishnu Dutas are taking us, above to the spiritual world, and then we see some beautiful, beautiful, wonderful planets on the way, the heavenly planets, Swargaloka, and above that, Janas, Tapas, Satya, any of them, we might think, oh, so nice, look at the distance, how nicely they are, so happy. They're also worshipping the Lord, and they were very much in the mode of goodness. How happy they look. Suppose we are attracted by that, they'll deplane us. Okay, go, stay there and enjoy, then you can come to the spiritual world. So then they will think, oh, after some time they'll realize, imagine, I could have gone back to Godhead. What is the big deal over here? Nothing much. If there's no real happiness, that nothing comparable to the happiness of being with Krishna, of being his devotee, his servant. Devotees cannot enjoy this material world. Simply, they may get enamored. Oh, that situation seems very nice, this nice. Let me try to enjoy. Then they go to enjoy, they can't enjoy because they got a superior taste over here in devotional service. So then they come back. Oh no, there's no use. It's like a desert. Desert, what? You cannot get water there. Better to remain where I am. So they always come back. Even sometimes, this those who become full-time devotees and they've left and gone, they thought enough. Now I want to enjoy this world. But then when they go to enjoy, they said we didn't get any taste only because now we know something superior, something inferior will not again, satisfy us. So then they can't, not finding any happiness anywhere, he'll come back. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur compared this phenomenon with a story, I mean, very practical story by which he said there was a landlord. He he needed a manager to, take care of his full farm and everything. And then what happened was there was so much work to be done that all managers were leaving. And they would just come work for 2 months, then they would leave. So then the landlord decided, the next person came, then he gave him topmost basmati, finest basmati he fed him. He the prasadam always had top class basmati. And the managers would get very much attached to eating basmati rice. And then after that, if they felt, too much work, I can't handle it, and they left, they would try to get the same basmati taste. They were very attached to that. But then they would try to get it outside. It's very expensive and they couldn't afford it. So then, because of that basmati, they would come back. Okay, I don't mind, I'll work, but I want that basmati. So he was comparing that to how in Krishna consciousness we get the taste of Krishna. Then even if we leave, oh, too many restrictions and very strict, and oh, I can't do, I want to also relax. Look, all my friends, how happily they are enjoying. I also want to go and enjoy. Enough getting up early in the morning and all that. Forget about it. I want to enjoy. Then they go there. They all must be enjoying, but you have already tasted what it is, spiritual life. And then you'll think, what is the big deal over here? Hardly any enjoyment. Then we feel disgusted and come back. So that is what it's like. He said, feeding basmati. And Guru Maharaj gave that what is the basmati rice we offer devotees in the beginning? Because, I mean, some kind of a bait to hold them back. And he said that when the devotees first come, then we give them a lot of care and love. We appreciate them. I mean, care and love always we have to give, but then especially for new devotees, right? We praise them and then we encourage them. We're very, very nice and all these things. Give them nice, whatever seva they ask, okay, okay, do whatever you want. We don't shout at them. And so then what happens? That all the love and affection and care and appreciation, which you don't get in the outside world. So these people become addicted to the basmati rice over devotee care. Um, then afterwards, due to some reason, they may think, oh, I'm very busy. I need to do other things. I want to study more. Some reason they will, they'll leave Krishna consciousness, but then they will not get the basmati rice anywhere. Nobody outside world who cares. Whatever you are, you be. I'm not going to sit and praise you. I want myself to be praised. So they will not get this kind of, the love and the affection and the encouragement and the tolerance. Then they think, no, no, devotees were so nice. And then they will come back. So this is the basmati rice of devotional service. Vidura Uvacha Sudurlabham Yat Paramam Padam Harir Maya Vinastaccharanarchanarjitam Labdvapi Asiddhartam Ivaika Janmana Katam Swam Atmanam Amanyatartavit. Sri Vidura inquired, my dear Brahmana, the abode of the Lord is very difficult to attain. It can be attained only by pure devotional service, which alone pleases the most affectionate, merciful Lord. Dhruva Maharaja achieved this position even in one life, and he was very wise and conscientious. Why then was he not very pleased? Saint Vidura's inquiry is very relevant. The word arthavid, which refers to one who knows how to discriminate between reality and unreality, is very significant in this connection. And arthavid is also called Paramahamsa. A Paramahamsa accepts only the active principle of everything. Just as the swan accepts only the milk from the mixture of water and milk, a Paramahamsa accepts only the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his life and soul, neglecting all external material things. Dhruva Maharaja was in this category, and due to his determination, he achieved the result he desired. But still, when he returned home, he was not very pleased. So, Dhruva Maharaja was a Paramahamsa who was always only thinking about Krishna, and like the swan was only accepting the essence of everything. Paramahamsa accepts only the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his life and soul, neglecting all external material things. Dhruva Maharaja was in this category, and due to his determination, he achieved the result he desired. So actually, he wanted Krishna, even though the motivation to go to Krishna was something material. But once when he started thinking of Krishna, he was only thinking of Krishna so steadily that Krishna first appeared in his heart, and he exercised his weight so much. Krishna, the whole universe is inside his body. And so he started weighing so much. He got Krishna completely in his heart. And then externally also he appeared and showed himself. So he was a great Paramahamsa. And so but because of that, Krishna came and he gave him whatever he wanted. Dhruva Maharaja achieved. I mean, he got the supreme pure, he got to go to the spiritual planet. And then still, why is he not very pleased? Maitreya Uvacha,
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Matuhu. Yes?
Mataji, I mean, it is just going back to that swan. It will be wonderful to see because swans are available everywhere. For
Mm,
our practical appreciation, we give milk and water to the swan. I
mm,
mean, does it really separate Mataji? Or I mean, it's very difficult to imagine also. How does the swan, when you mix it together, it's
mm,
not like some other liquid where, water will come up and milk will settle down or like that. The moment you mix water with milk, I mean, it doesn't settle down up or down or it stays milk as it is only. But I don't know
mm.
how a swan will be able to, practically seeing will be a wonderful this thing.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be very nice to see. But maybe it really does. Otherwise, why is Hamsa considered? The swan is given so much importance, and so much so that we even compare the spiritualists. Yeah, we should find out whether actually it happens. Okay, somebody do Googling and see. Maybe they found somewhere, or um, wherever these rishis are living, that is where the swans are. We don't see swans. Sometimes you find in lakes and all that, but how do we test it out?
Because sometimes people will say some kind of, I mean, these examples, but I mean, with sometimes maybe they may be saying, even though not authorized, sometimes people will get carried away and say the stories which may not be 100% authorized also. Sometimes people will say, why does Lord wear peacock feather? Sometimes there is a very famous story, which people saying that he wears peacock feather because peacock symbolizes, they say that the reproduction of peacock doesn't happen through ordinary mating or anything like that. They say, the female peacock takes the water from, the male peacock or something like that. That's how it reproduces, something like that. But actually, when you try to Google it out, they say no, it doesn't happen like that. They say many videos where we can see the birds, peacocks mating and all like that. So, sometimes it creates this confusion.
Yeah, we can just see if anything makes sense. Otherwise, we'll have to ask. Um, I don't know if anybody has seen swans actually taking out milk from water. Maybe it can also. Why not? Krishna can do anything different. What about the mystic power of this spider? How does it create? From its saliva, it makes a full web and then happily lies down there and uses it to catch insects. There's a mystic power. So Krishna can do anything. So who knows? Otherwise, it is all in the Bhagavatam, no? It's a Sanskrit word. In the Vedas, it's given Paramahamsa. So unless it really does, why will they say that swan is special? Why will they call elevated souls as Hamsa, Paramahamsa, and all that? So definitely, swan must be having that feature. But whether somebody has seen seen it doing, that is the question. Or in the zoo, we must ask if they have a swan. Can we test it out? Put water in a milk and give the swan, and we can find out.
Yes,
So,
Nandini, thank
yes.
you. Now, the moment we try to Google also, there will be so many atheistic people purposefully trying to, degrade our Sanatana Dharma or, something. They purposefully may write also to confuse, our faith also. There's so much of
Mm.
inimical people also are there. So,
Yeah, but it will be interesting to see what if there is something, if somebody has seen it, or by historical evidence. I don't know. Anyway, okay, it is good to find out why, um, whether actually somebody has seen it happening. Yeah, that's a good question. Text 29. Maitre uvacha matuhu sapatnya vagbanair hridi viddhastu tan smaran naichan muktipatir muktim tasmat tapam upeyivan. Maitreya answered, Dhruva Maharaja's heart, which was pierced by the arrow of the harsh words of his stepmother, was greatly aggrieved, and thus, when he fixed upon his goal of life, he did not forget her misbehavior. He did not demand actual liberation from this material world, but at the end of his devotional service, when the Supreme Personality of God appeared before him, he was simply ashamed of the material demands he had in his mind. See, very nicely they've explained. This important verse has been discussed by many stalwart commentators. Why was Dhruva Maharaja not very pleased? Even after achieving the goal of life he desired, a pure devotee is always free from any kind of material desires. In the material world, one's material desires are all most demoniac. One thinks of others as one's enemies. One thinks of revenge against one's enemies. One aspires to become the topmost leader or topmost person in this material world, and thus one competes with all others. This has been described in Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, as Asurik. A pure devotee has no demand from the Lord. His only concern is to serve the Lord sincerely and seriously, and he is not at all concerned about what will happen in the future. In the Mukunda Mala Stotra, King Kulashekara, author of the book, states in his prayer, My dear Lord, I don't want any position of sense gratification within this material world. I simply want to engage in your service perpetually. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya in his Shikshashtaka also prayed, My Lord, I do not want any amount of material wealth. I do not want any number of materialistic followers, nor do I want any attractive wife to enjoy. The only thing I want is that I may engage life after life in your service. Lord Chaitanya did not even pray, even for mukti or liberation. So, um, so that is the prayer of a pure devotee. So he is not, Mukunda Mala Stotra, King Kulashekara, pure devotee doesn't worry about anything. He leaves everything to the Lord. I simply want to engage in your service perpetually because that is the real source of all our complete protection, shelter, fulfillment, everything. That Dhruva Maharaja knew. And that is why he was morose that for 36,000 years he had asked for something. He's getting something else other than just being with Krishna and serving him. After that, he was going to the Shweta Dvipa. But before that, 36,000 years, he had to be here, away from him. In this verse, Maitreya replied to Vidura that Dhruva Maharaja, influenced by a revengeful attitude towards his insulting stepmother, did not think of mukti, nor did he know what mukti was. Therefore, he failed to aim for mukti as his goal in life. But a pure devotee also does not want liberation. He is a soul completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, and he does not demand anything from the Lord. This position was realized by Dhruva Maharaja when he saw the Supreme Personality of God at present personally before him, because he was elevated to the Vasudeva platform. The Vasudeva platform refers to the stage at which material contamination is conspicuous by absence only, or in other words, where there is no question of the material modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, and one can therefore see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because on the Vasudeva platform, one can see God face to face. The Lord is also called Vasudeva. So that is what, I mean, before he saw Krishna, he still had this anger, this feeling of revenge in his mind. Mm. And only, but still he continued devotional service. And so when he saw Krishna, then all those dirty desires went away. But till the time he had it in his heart. See how Krishna is so kind. He still, I mean, if we continue doing our devotional service, in spite of all this, whatever, anarthas, then that is why they say that how do you become a pure devotee? I mean, the example is given that in a glass, suppose there is some wine and you want to fill it with milk. You don't throw out all the wine and then pour milk because you may be disturbed. Oh, I'm attached to the wine. And then how do I, you're not ready to throw it away. So instead, you keep on pouring milk and that will displace the wine. Wine will go finished and then it'll be filled with milk. So that is how, even though we have all dirty things in our heart, we have to keep on praying to the Lord so that there is nothing else but the Lord. And that is what happened to Dhruva. Krishna personally appeared before him, and at that time, he didn't want any of the things. Dhruva Maharaja's demand for a position so exalted that it was never enjoyed even by Lord Brahma, his great grandfather. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is so affectionate and kind towards his devotee, especially to a devotee like Dhruva Maharaja, who went to render devotional service in the forest alone at the age of only 5 years. That, although the motive might be impure, the Lord does not consider the motive, is concerned with the service. But if a devotee has a particular motive, the Lord directly or indirectly knows it, and therefore he does not leave the devotee's material desires unfulfilled. There are these are some of the special favors by the Lord to his devotee. Dhruva Maharaja was offered Dhruvaloka, a planet that was never resided upon by any conditioned soul. Even Brahma, although the topmost living creature within this universe, was not allowed to enter the Dhruvaloka. He had to stay outside only and recite the Purusha Sukta, and Vishnu would answer, or sometime come to the shore of the ocean, or only his voice he could hear. Whereas Dhruva Maharaja was taken inside and to rule that planet. Whenever there is a crisis within this universe, the demigods go to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shirok Vishnu, and they stand on the beach of the Milk Ocean. So the fulfillment of Dhruva Maharaja's demand, a position more exalted than that of even his great grandfather Brahma, was offered to him. Here in this verse, the Lord is described as Muktipati, which means one under whose lotus feet there are all kinds of mukti. There are 5 kinds of mukti: Sayujya, Sarupya, Salukya, Samipya, and Sarshti. Out of these 5 muktis, which can be achieved by any person engaged in devotional service to the Lord, the one which is known as Sayujya is generally demanded by the Mayavadi philosophers. They demand to become one with the impersonal Brahman effulgence of the Lord. In the opinion of many scholars, the Sayujya Mukti, although counted among the 5 kinds of Mukti, is not actually Mukti, because from Sayujya Mukti, one may again fall down to this material world. This information we have from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.2.32, wherein it is said, Patanti Adaha, which means they will fall down. uh, they again fall down. The monist philosopher, after executing severe austerity, merges into the impersonal effulgence of the Lord, but the living entity always wants reciprocation and loving affairs. Therefore, although the monist philosopher is elevated to the status of being one with the effulgence of the Lord, because there is no facility for associating with the Lord and rendering service unto him, he again falls into this material world, and his service propensity is satisfied by materialistic welfare activities like humanitarianism, altruism, and philanthropy. There are many instances of such fall downs, even for great sannyasis in the Mayavada school. So this, so Saijya Mukti, so he's by Krishna is called Mukti Pada. Lord is described, sorry, Mukti Pati. He who's one who's under whose lotus feet there are all kinds of mukti. And so he's just described about Sayujya Mukti merging, which is not actually mukti. The other 4 are in connection with rendering service, connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is eternal. But here, this is not, it's to do with only the Brahma Jyoti, not the form of the Lord, and so it is not eternal. It's not actually mukti.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes,
Yeah. Mataji, now, just for clarity to have on the position of Kshirodakshaya Vishnu to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Now, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he creates a universe and he enters it, fills off of it with this thing, and he lies down on that. From his lotus comes this, from his navel comes the stem where Lord Brahma is situated, and we have that 14 planetary systems within that. This is the Garbhodakshaya position. Now, where is another Pala Samudra where Kshirodakshaya Vishnu stays?
That is, yeah, correct.
No, the position.
Where is it?
Where is it?
Where is it? It is somewhere above the our earthly planetary systems. Now, on the right side, above that, it is there. It is not part of this, like in the middle plan, above the earthly planetary systems, the Sumeru mountain is there, and then we have all the Devaloka, Indraloka, all that, all the Devatas, and above that is the Brahmaloka, all that is there. But slightly to the right, there is a separate island. Shvetadvipa is there.
Yeah, okay. So sometimes they say, this, sometimes, there's little confusion saying that the pastimes which happens, are not in the spiritual Shvetadvipa, but the pastimes of sometimes the Jaya Vijaya may be happening in this material planet, the Shvetadvipa, which is there within the material planet.
What?
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
What?
The pastimes, sometimes, we see that the yogis, some who are not qualified to enter into Vaikuntha, like somebody like Durvasa, or we keep hearing that they have gone to Vaikuntha. I mean, when the Lord's Chakra was chasing him, they have gone to Vaikuntha. So how does, when he is not qualified, how did he go to Vaikuntha? Because Vaikuntha, only pure devotees are allowed to enter into it. So sometimes, there is explanation giving that, by people quoting Jiva Goswami and things like that. So sometimes these pastimes could be happening in the Shvetadvipa, where which is there in the material world. Where Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is lying. and not in the real Vaikuntha.
Yes. Anyway, both are eternal Vaikuntha only. Here also, okay, I don't know, but in the pastimes where Krishna goes, with Arjuna and all, they actually go to what? Mahavishnu. Yeah, they go to Mahavishnu. But Vaikuntha also, when they say Vaikuntha, it is Vaikuntha, not Shvetadvipa.
But
But they will not mix up like that. This Shvetadvipa is not called Vaikuntha. If they say Vaikuntha, then they went to Vaikuntha. It's a special, everybody cannot go, but there may be exceptions for some reason. There is one person who was, Narad Muni, that pastime about what is the Lavamatra. Narad Muni asked Vishnu, what is the meaning of Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoi? So then he will tell Narada, go to the worm and give it blessing or something like that. He goes to the worm and the worm asks for blessings or something. But then when Narada Muni tries to bless, it dies. Then he feels very sad. Then he goes to a bird like that. I mean, that soul whom he, just by associating with Narada Muni, kept on getting higher and higher births. And I don't know, does anyone remember that past time? And then he also happened to go to
Yeah,
Vaikuntha.
Mother. Mother. Then he asked him to go to that calf, that cow given a calf to go to see that calf. Then he said, hey, there is a prince, there is a prince born, you go finally over there. So then that prince tell him that first you went to the home, then the calf, birds, then the calf, then I am the prince. Like that, Narada Muni upgraded.
Just by one moment of association with him.
Yeah.
And what did he do to them? What did he? How did he bless them?
So then that prince son told, because of your association, from whom do I get to the prince's son? Like that.
Okay, like he doesn't go to Vaikuntha, right?
No.
Okay, in some other pastimes, they go. The conditioned soul also goes to the Vaikuntha because of some pure devotee's mercy.
Yeah,
He
actually,
also goes.
yes, Mother. They say that, I think the version which I have heard is that the king had a very sinful brother, and he sends Narada asking him a question: what is the importance of having a association with the Vaishnava? And Narada did not know the right answer. Then he says, then he went to Brahma. Then Brahma also did not know. Then he went to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva also did not know. Then they said, okay, finally all of us go together to Vaikuntha to ask Lord. And so all three of them, this sinful person and Brahma, Lord Shiva goes to Vaikuntha, and they ask the question there. Then the Lord tells them, now you leave this person here and you people go back. Because once who comes to Vaikuntha doesn't go back. So this is the answer is that since he had that Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha with Narada, so that's how he was benefited. That's a version which.
Yes, that's another pastime, not this connected with this. Yeah.
Separate, Mother. That is separate.
Yeah. So that's what. So by the mercy of some pure devotee, he couldn't have gone on his own because Shiva, Brahma, Narada and all were going. He went. That is how you can go. In a conditioned soul cannot go on his own. As sitting on the back of some pure devotee, we can also go.
The question is that the Svetadvipa, there's one Svetadvipa which is existing in this material world also, where Sridhar Sai resides.
Yes.
That's a point.
Yeah,
There's
of
one.
course.
So that means it's a Vaikunta. It's a Vaikunta planet. I mean, some
But it's
sort of
not
whatever.
called Vaikunta. It's not
Vaikunta.
called Vaikunta.
But the
It's called
Lord,
Shvetadvipa. It is not interchangeable. If you say I'm
yeah.
going to Vaikunta, you cannot say no. It can be even to Shvetadvipa. No, to go to Shvetadvipa, it's Shvetadvipa. It is okay. It is like Vaikunta, but then here in the material world, it's not called Vaikunta.
Yes, sir. But the Lord has any pastimes there? We don't know. Or he will be just lying down and Mother Lakshmi will be pressing his legs.
Yeah, he is
I mean,
watching everything from there. Nobody is allowed there, na? Only Dhruv Maharaja. But so, what will Dhruv Maharaja do over there? I don't know. Because there's nobody there. Only Lord Lakshmi and Dhruv Maharaja. I don't know what he does over there. It'll be interesting to know.
actually, somewhere, I mean, saying the Vaishnava, I mean, since we are actually doing the pastime, I mean, Jaya Vijaya, this thing, Mataji, in the third canto of Bhagavatam. So when we get this question, how does these people go? People who are not qualified, like Durvasa. I mean, there was nobody with him. There was no pure devotee to take him to Vaikuntha. But he went and prayed to Lord Vishnu to escape from the Sudarshana Chakra. So the Vaishnava Acharya is giving an answer for this, saying that actually this Svetadipa is like a portal. It's like a window connecting the spiritual Vaikuntha to material Vaikuntha. So they mention through this portal, sometimes they go, some extraordinary people,
Like Dhruva.
Yeah, like Dhruva, like these four Kumaras also. They were not pure devotees to enter into Vaikuntha, but they went. So they say that Dhruvas also, so through this Svetadvipa, which is a window connecting both the spiritual world and the material world, so they go.
Okay, anyway, those are esoteric truths. In the Bhagavatam, it says that they were wandering in the Brahmajyoti and they actually went to Vaikunta where Jaya and Vijaya were the seventh, security there. And they actually spoke to them. That's what is mentioned there. It doesn't say that they went to Shvetadvipa.
Yeah, I mean, they quote Jiva Goswami quoting Mataji on this.
Okay, if they are quoted, definitely it must be true. But
That's
maybe
what,
some other examples. What I'm saying is four Kumaras directly went to Vaikunta. That's what we see in the Bhagavatam. I mean, whatever Jiva Goswami and all the Acharyas say, definitely that is the absolute truth. And we have to accept it. Maybe some people go from here. And okay, you look it up. Who are the people? I mean, can you read it out? Maybe tomorrow. Read out that passage so we get a clear understanding.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you, Mataji.
In Indian text, it is said to eat pearls and separate milk from water from a mixture of the two. And Charles Lakshman states that the references to Hamsa being able to separate or discriminate is used primarily in a metaphorical sense in Sanskrit poetry. So they're not saying it actually does. Another place it says it's an allegorical ability.
After sweeping and all, you put.
Huh? It is an allegorical ability used to indicate the perceptive nature of the Hamsa. The Hamsa, I mean, the swan is very regal, it doesn't like to be with where all other birds and, crowded places. It likes to be alone and very, sober. So maybe that is why.
People get confused also, swan with duck, flamingo, because they all look very similar, Mataji. So elsewhere they're saying, they're mentioning they have some sort of a gland within, flamingo, or some glands are there, which is like a, what do you call that? Gelada, means it's a hole, which filters the water, yeah, something like that. We don't know.
See, the only way we can separate water from milk is you boil it and the steam comes out. That is the way we separate. isn't it?
Yes, Mother. Yeah.
So here they are saying it's allegorical. It's not actually. Okay. Somebody has asked a question. Is it true that swan can separate milk from a mixture of water and milk? Then one person has written, yes, a swan can separate milk from a mixture of water and milk, but it doesn't do so in the same way that humans might think about separation. Swans, like many birds, can drink water and may ingest small amounts of milk if it is present in a mixture. However, they do not have the ability to separate the components of the mixture. In a more scientific context, separating milk from water typically involves physical processes like centrifugation or filtration, which are not applicable to swans. If you're referring to a specific method or phenomenon involving swans and milk separation, please provide more details. So I don't think. Amsa, Shira.
Mataji?
Yes.
Saraswati ವಾಹನ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಮಾತಾಜಿ ಹಂಸ? ಹಂಸ ಸರಸ್ವತಿ ವಾಹನ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಮಾತಾಜಿ?
Yes. Brahmaji's Vahan.
ಅದೇ.
ಹೌದು. And ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರು ಇದು Hamsa is also referred to our soul, Atma. Here it is indirectly telling us that our souls is capable of separating good things from bad. What we need to do is just to understand the presence of Hamsa, Atman in ourselves. Okay, these must be one impersonalist types who will always put one, this is what it means kind of thing, another interpretation. Hamsa is the vehicle of God Brahma and his consort Saraswati. All are white in color, symbolizing purity and knowledge. Hamsa is associated with holy Ganges and holy lake Manasarovar too. It's one of the purest birds. Hamsa Gayatri confers the power of discretion on the person who recites it. Okay, so Hamsa Atma also has got the name Hamsa. Okay, maybe we can ask some Bhanu Maharaj, you can write to him. But you know, Bhanu Maharaj, he will not answer. If he asks such questions, he'll say, Prabhupada never said anything, so I don't know. He will say that. He will never say anything which was not spoken by Prabhupada. So our speculations and all, we are just trying to find out if anybody really saw that. But so it's more or less just an allegory, that's all. And nobody is saying that it actually separates. Then in the zoo, everybody will be wanting to see that now. They would put milk with water and the swan taking the milk, it will become a big phenomenon where nobody is seen like that. So anyway, that's just okay. We go for prayers. Any questions or comments?
Mataji, what is the position of Mahavishnu, Mataji?
Mahavishnu is outside this universe. From him, all the universes are coming. So he's got many universes coming from his body. And within each universe, Garbhodakshai, he expands himself as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And then he goes and lies down in the ocean called, from the Garbhodaka ocean. And from his navel, that's what Brahmaji comes. And then Kshirodakshai Vishnu expands, from Garbhodakshai Vishnu expands himself into Kshirodakshai Vishnu in Shvetadvipa, and he enters every atom. So this is how these three Purusha avataras.
So Mahavishnu is after Karnodaksai Vishnu, is it?
No, same. Mahavishnu, Karnodaksha Vishnu are same person.
Oh,
That's
okay.
just another name.
Okay, Mataji, got it, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
Mataji, I was disconnected, so recording, I'm not able to stop it now. So request you to stop recording, Mataji.
Oh, okay.
ಹೌದಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ ಮನೆಗೆ. ಏನಿತ್ತು ಹೇಳು.